to the Beneath the Dirt podcast, where we profile and showcase underground music while taking an occasional trip above the surface. I'm your host, Romebone. Thank you for tuning in. Now, this is going to be my final episode of the year. I'm going to kind of wrap up the year, talk about my favorite albums of the year. I want to talk about some new releases that are coming out, some new music that has dropped, and plans for 2019. Let's start off with new music. This past Friday on December 21st, Ouija Mac released the anticipated mixtape Water Damage. I held a listening party for it on my Twitch page. We listened to it. Beats are banging on it, that's for sure. I skip a couple tracks on it. Overall, a pretty solid effort from Ouija Mac. Whoever's doing his production, I know Devereaux does a lot of his production. Beats are just banging on that album. The mixtape, I mean. I've only gone a few listens through of the mixtape. Definitely going to be listening to it a few more times, figuring out what tracks I'll keep on my playlist and which ones I won't. But I like the direction that he's going in. I liked his sound. I'm looking forward to more Ouija Mac. Slowly winning me over. Hopsin dropped a new song, Low Key, basically talking about the current state of hip hop. People doing drugs, people doing pills, doing all this other stuff, being loud in the club, wilding out. He's too low key for that. You could say what you want about Hopsin airing out his personal stuff, his personal life on social media, through his albums, whatever. This dude makes super catchy music, produces all his own stuff. Pretty sure he directs all his own videos. He'll drop an album, be quiet for a little bit, come back, drop a track. Probably go back to being quiet after this. But I'm digging the track. I always like Hopsin. I'll give him a hard time on social media for the way he acts, stuff like that, but dude is super talented. Peep that if you ain't peeped it yet. Hopsin Low Key. Liquid Assassin dropped a new track this last week called Jungle Juice. Just super braggadocious raps over a beat. Sounds like it's coming from the Jungle Book or something like that. Like straight from the jungle. This dude just raps his ass off. He recently left Lyrical Snuff Productions, LSP. He released a video saying everything was all good. He's going to focus on his own record label, 42 Records. Peep the new Liquid Assassin, Jungle Juice, if you ain't peep it yet. And if you want an album suggestion, I would say go listen to Mulatto. That's probably my favorite album from him. He's got Sean P on there, production from C. Lance. So many good tracks on that album. Highly suggest Mulatto from Liquid Assassin. Dirty from UPS Underground Propaganda Squad and Mission Infect dropped a new song called Going Nowhere. If you're a fan of that country rap kind of style, that's what this song is kind of like. Like if you like Jelly Roll or Yellow Wolf, stuff like that, that's what this kind of reminds me of. And I'm actually digging the track. I'm not usually a big fan of the country rap stuff, but I'll make a few exceptions here and there if it's really good. This song was really good. He put out a video directed by Low Key. Check out Dirty, Going Nowhere. Also, Token released his album Between Somewhere. This dude, super introspective on his album, super personal. He's pretty transparent with everything he talks about. He'll even shit on himself on songs, talking about how he's a hypocrite in certain situations. Production on it's really good, sounding nice and clean. He has a track on there with Tech 9 called YouTube Rapper, and they're just rapping their asses off back and forth. Probably a contender for Album of the Year, but it was put out in December, just a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to need more time to sit with the album. Like if you put out an album in December, I'm not going to consider it for album, a top album of the year until the following year, because you just need more time to sit on the music. But I highly suggest Token, Between Somewhere. Dude's mad young, 19, 20, something like that, and just killing it out here. He won Kato on the Tracks contest a couple years ago, and he's just been slowly gaining momentum since then, getting a little bit bigger and bigger every year. D-Loc from the Kottonmouth Kings released his second solo album, Ripperside. I also had a listening party for that Saturday, December 22nd on my YouTube page. And I've been bumping it. I bumped it probably 4 or 5 times since then. Probably the most personal material that you've heard from D-Loc yet. Talking a lot of stuff, Kottonmouth Kings, how they fired management, Pakaliga, Dirtball. Talked about Kevin Zinger real quick on one of the tracks. And the biggest thing he talked about to me was Daddy X holding them royalty checks. And he also put up an Instagram video, which I put up on my YouTube page, basically talking about the current state of the Kottonmouth Kings, how it's just him and Richter at this point, nobody else. Don't blame him for none of the other members, for not being in the group anymore, which was kind of weird to me because you just put out an album with Saint Dog earlier this year, bringing Saint Dog back in the picture, but now Saint Dog's out of it. And Richter, who is credited as a feature on the Kottonmouth Kings album with Saint Dog, is now Kottonmouth Kings. So it's all really just kind of confusing. It's kind of hard to keep track of who's in, who's out. But this video, he tried to make it clear that it's him and Richter from here on out. Don't blame him for none of the members not being in the group. He's just trying to continue the legacy. And then, like I said previously, on his Ripperside album, he talked about Daddy X, who is not paying the members any of the royalties from previous albums. Now, I always had a sneaky little suspicion that Daddy X was really the main reason why Suburban Noise kind of collapsed and fell off, and Kottonmouth Kings fell off as well. He kind of came out of nowhere with accusations of not being paid by Suburban Noise Records, which he was the co-owner of. Like, if you're a co-owner of a company and you're not getting paid, like, you're not doing your job. He came out blaming Kevin Zinger, who was the co-owner of Suburban Noise Records with him, saying he was stealing money from artists on the label. He even accused him of sleeping with his wife. Just a whole lot of crazy shit he was coming out with, blaming Kevin Zinger for the basically no money being paid, stealing, all this other stuff. I remember other artists coming out. I remember Slane coming out saying, look, Kevin Zinger's done nothing but good by me. I get my royalties on time all the time. I believe Big B even came out saying the same thing. And then Daddy X and the Kottonmouth Kings parted ways with Suburban Noise, got the masters. I believe Daddy X probably owns the masters, because if D-Loc and Richter aren't getting their royalties, he's got to be the one getting, or he's the one that's in control of all the music. It's interesting to me that Kottonmouth Kings is really only D-Loc and Johnny Richter now. I mean, that's Kingspade. If D-Loc and Saint Dog, since they released this album earlier this year under the name Kottonmouth Kings, brought in Johnny Richter, and they would have had Saint, D-Loc, and Richter as the three and calling themselves Kottonmouth Kings, I'd go with it. I'd totally vibe with that. But just to have one or two members and call it Kottonmouth Kings kind of seems weird to me. The album that they put out earlier this year, Kingdom Come, which was, I thought was pretty damn good. Saint Dog is not the same Saint Dog that he was on Royal Highness. On Royal Highness, he was kind of in your face, just real aggressive with the flows, but now he's just kind of laid back, chill. It kind of had to grow on me a little bit. D-Loc, it's the same D-Loc that you know and love. Johnny Richter sounds the same, but Saint Dog's flow had to grow on me over time, and in the end, I thought it was a solid release. Like I said, Richter, Saint, D-Loc, call it Kottonmouth Kings, I'm with it. Richter, D-Loc, I don't know. I mean, I'll go with it. I'll support it because I'm a fan. Been supporting them since Royal Highness, but to me, that's Kingspade. We just have to see what the future holds. But D-Loc's Ripperside album, definitely worth checking out. Production on it's really dope. I like it better than the Made for Kings album that he put out about 10 years ago. And he's released a couple videos off the Ripperside album. Definitely check them out as well. I'm digging it so far. And I'm looking forward to see what him and Johnny Richter got coming forth in 2019. Now, Twiztid released a new song called Sick Mind from their new album called Generation Nightmare. Generation Nightmare is the new album from Twiztid. It was previously announced that the album was going to be called Nightmare Children. I like the Generation Nightmare title better. This track is dope. just rap, no guitars. Monoxide kind of singing on the hook. I thought he killed the hook. And they're just rapping their asses off, talking about how they got sick minds and shit that they see in their heads, and really dope. I'm looking forward to their next album. The mix on it sounded really good as well, which is big to point out because I thought that the Life's Question Marks album was mixed fucking terrible. Some of the songs, it's really hard to understand what they're even saying, and I think that's a big thing. If you order any merch off the M&E store above a certain price point, going through, they'll send you the CD single on their albums. I made an order over the Black Friday sale, the Zulu album, and I got the CD single. But then you got albums that just sound terrible. Looking forward to the next album. Twiztid also announced this song that they're going to be releasing dope track. The Abominations Deluxe Edition, January 25th. Now, what's coming with the Deluxe Edition, we don't know yet. It was just announced, I believe, two days ago. And we're just going to have to wait and see what comes with the Deluxe. Are we just going to get both the bonus tracks that came with the Monoxide and Madrox version on one disc? I'd like to speculate that we're going to get a bonus DVD of behind the scenes making of the album. If they have that footage, if they made footage of it, we're just going to have to wait and see what bonus material, if any, is going to come with the Deluxe Edition. One of their best albums they put out, I put it right behind Most Tasteless. As far as my favorite albums from Twiztid goes, I'm definitely going to be copping that and looking forward to that. Dirtball has released info on his upcoming album Skull Hollow, released in February 22nd. I like Dirtball. He's no longer in Kottonmouth Kings. He's been pretty quiet the last couple years since Kottonmouth Kings just kind of went mute and you heard nothing from him. But he released his track I talked about a few podcasts ago called Jeepers Creepers, produced by Kumagai, who produced all the old Kottonmouth King stuff. Dope track. Looking forward to new Dirtball music. Chucky Chuck, another Subnoise Kottonmouth Kings affiliate alumni, announced he's releasing a new album called Henchlord, early 2019. The DGAF leader truly doesn't give no fucks. And I'm looking forward to hearing what Chucky Chuck got to bring. I believe this is his debut solo album. So new Chucky Chuck coming 2019. Last but not least, for new releases, Ala Zululu announced they're releasing The Almighty on vinyl. And it's coming with 2 cover variants and 3 color variants, and they'll be selected at random. There will be 600 red with yellow cloud, 250 red/yellow, and 150 red/opaque black. The 2 cover variants, 700 will be standard and 300 will be the alternate cover. And like I said, they'll be randomly picked on which ones you're going to get. It says pre-order options will be coming to the M&E store soon. So I'm wondering if maybe for a limited time you'll be able to pre-order both covers, or if they're really just going to keep it completely random. I already got my pre-order on Amazon, and if they don't have a pre-order option on the M&E store to get both covers, I'll probably just wait for my order from Amazon and then just hit the secondary market after that and try to get whatever the other cover is that I didn't get, because I'm an audio whore. I love collecting audio. And that album was solid as hell. One of my top albums from 2018. So I'm definitely going to support the Ala Zululu boys and cop that vinyl. Speaking of top albums of the year, I want to talk about my top albums. The list was pretty big this year. A lot of friggin' music came out, and it was really hard to keep up with all the music that was released in 2018. A lot of stuff I didn't even get a chance to listen to that I might like, but I listened to what I could. Who knows, down the line I'll probably get to the albums that I didn't listen to, but for the albums I did listen to, I mean, my list is over 20 albums long. So what I'm going to do is just cut it down to the top 5 for mainstream albums and top 5 for underground albums, and I'm just going to give some honorable mentions out. I'm going to start with the mainstream real quick. I'm not going to hang too long in the mainstream because this is beneath the dirt, but like I said, we're taking a trip above the surface real quick. Meek Mill just put out an album last month called Championships. This dude got bodied by Drake a couple years ago, murdered by an R&B singer slash rapper, and has been, did some time, got out, was kind of quiet, dropped this album. This album is super solid. Really digging this album. Travis Scott, Astro World, another one of my top albums from the mainstream. Never listened to Travis Scott before this album. The only song I ever heard him on was a Young Thug song, Pick Up the Phone. This dude, his flow, his voice is so dope. He's from Houston, I believe, and he really just has that Houston kind of vibe, laid back. He has a song, R.I.P. to DJ Screw. So you're going to get those mellow vibes, but at the same time, you're going to get those like kind of old school 3 6 Mafia. He sampled the Tear the Club Up. So you're going to get tracks like that as well. Young Thug released the EP On the Run. I think this dude low-key is super fucking genius. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, he wears skirts. Yes, he wears women clothes. Yes, he'll tell other rappers that he loves them on social media. I don't care. This dude is one of my favorite artists of the last 5 years. Super talented, super genius with the melodies. This dude's songwriting is on another level. And this EP was actually kind of a fresh breath of air for him because his last couple releases, Slime Language and Beautiful Thugger Girls, were kind of misses with me. But this new one, On the Run, super dope. I'd recommend that. Royce da 5'9", Book of Ryan, basically an audio biography, if you will. Him and his life growing up. This dude right now, in my opinion, is the best rapper alive right now. You don't want no problems with Royce da 5'9". This dude is a monster. In this album, he gets super personal, super introspective. Love it. It's a front to back listen. You really just, there's a couple tracks you can go and just listen to one off. But really, this album, you just got to go front to back with it. If you listen to it, can't stop. Once you start, listen through all the way. Super dope album. Love Royce da 5'9", best rapper in the game. My favorite mainstream album this year, Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap. West Coast savior right here. Haven't heard a West Coast album I was this hyped for since probably Game's documentary album, which was like 15 years ago. This dude keeps it West Coast without it sounding too dated West Coast. It's like real current, and it's real rap, real street rap. Dude is super dope. The opening track is one of the hardest tracks all year. Love this album. Came out in like February. Still bumping it today. Easily the best mainstream album of the year. Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap. Go check it out. A couple honorable mentions for mainstream albums. I'm going to say Flatbush Zombies, Vacation in Hell. I don't really know if they're underground or mainstream, but they are, these dudes are super dope. I fuck with them heavy. Really dope. Black Thought, Streams of Thought 1 and 2. One of the best rappers ever. I'm pretty sure this dude could just make an album just freestyling off the top of his head and just go with it. Just put on a beat and this dude will make an album for you. Super dope. Pusha T, Daytona EP, 7 songs. Really dope. The Rick Ross feature on there, dope. He took shots at Drake on there, which is whatever. Pusha T's Daytona EP was really dope. I suggest checking that out as well. Now, as far as underground albums go, where I really thrive, where this podcast is really based off of, the underground. We had some pretty good albums come out from the underground this year. Denzel Curry released Taboo. Another artist, I don't know if he's underground or mainstream, but I put him in the underground category. This dude, I could see this album as being like a therapy session for listeners. Super catchy, super in your face, really dope album. I've heard Denzel Curry previously work with Suicide Boys, but I'm not too familiar with any of his other work besides this album. So it was a nice surprise. I kept hearing good things about it. I said, fuck it, I'm going to check it out. Denzel Curry, Taboo, dope album. Another top album that I have on my list. It's actually 2 albums, but I put it as one, and it was technically released 2017 New Year's Eve. But like I said, you released an album in December. I'm not going to consider it for a top album of the year till the following year. But Mission Infect reunited after probably 5-6 years off, maybe not even that long. But they reunited with a lot of the original members to release Chemical Threats 3 and 4. In Mission Infect, you have Low Key, Gruesome, Mad Max, Dirty, Malaria, Zero, Dubs. There's going to be I know there's other dudes and I can't think. There's just so many dudes in Mission Infect. But Chemical Threats 3 and 4 had a lot of dope tracks on it. Let It Go, Time to Die, Big Bad Wolf, which is probably my favorite track off both the albums, with Malaria, Mad Max, and Green Villain. That beat is super hard. All 3 of them come super hard on that track. Mission Infect, Chemical Threats 3 and 4. Dope albums. Definitely check them out. Gruesome, who is also in Mission Infect, released Grassroots 5 EP. I've been saying for at least 10 years now, this dude is the most slept on artist in the underground. This dude, to me, is the best rapper in the underground. Wicked shit underground, whatever you want to call it. This dude is fucking amazing. This dude comes up with crazy hooks. My favorite track off it is probably Until I Die, which is a Smoker song. But it's very catchy. 6 songs on the EP, front to back. All of them are great. Gruesome, super underrated. Check him out if you haven't checked him out yet. Give it a spin. Grassroots 5. He also released probably what will go down as one of the best horrorcore releases ever, which is VHS last year. Check this dude out. Super talented, super underrated. Axe Murder Boys released Muerte, their debut album on Magic Ninja Entertainment. This album got a lot of spins from me, coming out super hard with Who Wanna Die. They both had solo tracks on this one. The only feature on it was Twiztid, entirely produced by Young Wicked, except for the solo song from Bones Dub, which he produced. Engineered by Young Wicked. I already told you what I think about this dude. This album, super hard. Their best album yet, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to more Young Wicked, more A&B. They're about to go on the road with A La Zulilu and Scum and Insane Poetry. And I'm probably going to be hitting up one of those shows if it comes to my area. Speaking of A La Zulilu, easily the top underground album of the year, The Almighty. These dudes are the resurgence of the wicked shit. These dudes single-handedly are breathing life back into a genre that's just been kind of stagnant for a while. And not only do the songs sound good and they come up with catchy choruses, but these dudes rap their asses off. Multi-syllables. They even go back and forth on a couple tracks. Billy Obey, Joey Black, and Lee Carver. Production from Bad Mind on here. Features from Insane Poetry, Flatliners, Twiztid, and Low Key. These dudes are the future of the wicked shit, and they're showing everybody how it should be done. And their gimmick works. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre masks that they wear work. A lot of the times when I see an up-and-coming wicked shit artist come out and they got some kind of face paint, wearing some kind of mask, I'm already like, alright, this is kind of corny. But these dudes make it work. The shit is believable, which is the most important part. You listen to it. Billy Obey's voice, in my opinion, this dude could be like the leader of a fucking cult. Tell you to drink all the Kool-Aid and you're gonna drink the goddamn Kool-Aid. Super dope. Love this album. It's been released for a few months now. Still playing the shit all the time. Front to back. Not one bad song on here. They paid homage to ICP with Dead. It's basically a cover of the Dead one off the Ringmaster. They even gave props to ICP in a recent interview, saying they're a big influence. Dark Lotus, a big influence. Ala Zulilou easily has the best album from the underground this year with The Almighty. Love these dudes. Super hyped to see what they got coming in the future. And their live show is dope as hell. And they can rap their asses off. Some honorable mentions for top underground albums of 2018. Vinny Paz was quite busy this year. He released a solo album and he released an album with Jedi Mind Tricks. The solo album was The Pain Collector. Jedi Mind Tricks album was Bridge in the Abyss. Both dope albums. When you listen to Vinny Paz, Jedi Mind Tricks, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get that raw rap, that boom bap, hard lyrics, conspiracy shit, some punch you in the face type shit, storytelling. Both dope albums. Kottonmouth Kings, talked about it earlier. The Kingdom Come album grew on me over time. At first, wasn't really feeling it because Saints Flow is so different now. But it's a pretty solid album and I enjoy it a lot. Produced by Corleone and D-Loc. I suggest you go check out that album. Bexy released an EP called Spooky Electric. This is kind of like rap, kind of like emo shit. I don't know how to really explain it. I know he was boys with Lil Peep, but solid EP from this dude. You can get off iTunes for like $3. My dudes from Uncommon Wealth released a project called Do We Got a Problem? Not a super cohesive project, but every song is dope on it. And these dudes rap their asses off for sure. I recommend checking that out. Uncommon Wealth, Do We Got a Problem? And Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence. I know this isn't necessarily a rap album, but another dude who I think low-key is super genius, extremely talented, underappreciated. He released a solo album under his real last name, Uringer, self-titled. If you like MSI, Mindless Self-Indulgence, I think you'll like this record. This dude, I don't even know how he comes up with the shit he comes up with. It's just so out there, so crazy, but it's so dope. Highly recommend checking that out. And those are my top albums of 2018. Mainstream #1 album, Nipsey Hussle. Underground #1 album, Ala Zulilou. Looking forward to everybody I mentioned. And it was a solid year for music. So much fucking music got released. It's so hard to keep up. But I do the best I can, listening to everything I think will be dope. There was a lot of garbage that dropped this year too. Don't get me wrong. Not everything I listen to is dope. A lot of it is just like, really? This shit is trash. How do people even like this? You know? Check out all the albums I mentioned. I'm sure you'll find something in there that you'll enjoy. And I mentioned earlier that I did a listening party for the Ouija Mac album, Water Damage, mixtape rather, and a listening party for D-Loc's Ripperside on my YouTube. Going forward, for albums I think people would tune in for and are genuinely interested in, I'm going to go live, stream the album the night of its release or day of its release, and we could share our thoughts together in the chat. I'll share my thoughts with you, track by track. I plan on doing it for Fearless Fred Fury when it drops. I had people already inquiring about if I'm going to do it for Fearless Fred Fury. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to just keep going forward with it. I'm not sure if it's going to be up on YouTube going forward or if I'm going to do it on Twitch. With YouTube, you get the copyright strikes, and I'm not trying to have my channel banned. I think Twitch is a little more lenient with it, since the videos aren't saved and you get continuous plays. You just stream it and it is what it is. So I'm going to go back and forth on it. Not sure if it's going to be on YouTube or Twitch yet, but definitely going to do it regardless. Hope y'all join in. Also, for 2019, Beneath the Dirt, I want to start getting interviews with artists. If you have an artist you want to hear interviewed on the podcast, let me know, and I'll try getting them on the show. I also want to have special guests on, people to have go back and forth with commentary on certain shit, on topics that are happening in the underground instead of just being me all the time, have other people to go back and forth with, make the show maybe a little more interesting. I also released an unboxing video on my YouTube page yesterday. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do unboxings because I buy a lot of shit. Like I said, I mostly buy audio. Every once in a while, I'll buy posters, shirts, something like that if it's super dope, but mostly audio. So I'll do unboxings of stuff I buy, put it up on my YouTube, and I got more stuff planned. Just kind of thinking about more ideas of what I want to do with Beneath the Dirt in 2019. I'm going to continue posting album anniversaries when applicable. You know, December is a slow month for music releases, so there really hasn't been that many album releases for me to post that I think people would be interested in on my page. But gonna keep doing that. I got a lot of good feedback about that. I got my Twitter where I post random thoughts about certain shit that's going down in between when I record podcasts, so I'm gonna keep doing that as well. I'm just gonna continue doing what I'm doing, try to build this thing bigger and bigger, hopefully get more followers, more listeners, get some good interviews, some good commentary for you in 2019. I want to thank everybody that is tuned in, liked a picture, commented on a picture, tuned into my live streams for the album listening parties, anything. If you supported me anyway in 2018, I want to thank you very much. It's super appreciated. I appreciate the fuck out of every single last one of you. Thank you. And I look forward to bringing you more dope content 2019. And that's going to wrap it up for me. Peace to 2018. This will be the last podcast of the year. I'll catch y'all next year. It's been a pleasure, and I'm out. Peace.